Hey guys, David here again. So for today, I want to talk about David Goggins. I've been reading his book, Can't Hurt Me, and it's been really inspiring me to talk about this topic of pain and getting through it. And one of the things that's very forthtelling in his story is that he is the type of guy to not give up, to not quit. And I think that's something that's very lacking. He talks about this in his book too, but I think it's something that's very lacking in today's society in terms of that, like, we don't have, like, not many people are really pushing themselves. And I don't think it's necessarily like people's like direct fault. I think it's more so the environment that we grew up in, or that we're growing up in. And I think that we're growing up in like one of the best times in civilization, human history, where our civilization is extremely advanced and we have all kinds of luxuries. But it's almost like having so many luxuries, we are weaker because of it. So because we have so little to worry about, and we're not so accustomed to that as humans, we have so much more internal like anxiety and things that we should be working on. There's the Star of David, and the part of the symbolism of the Star of David is that the outer triangles represent the chaos of the world, the disorder, and then on the inside is order. The inside depicts the action of sanctioning and creating boundaries in your life and becoming ordered. And this is, again, I think that we're living in a very chaotic time where people are so internally confused about where they should go or what they want, that it's like people don't have a sense of purpose or identity. Like if someone were to ask you, who are you? And it's a very vague question. However, you should be able to say like, oh, I do this, or I am this, or I care for these people, I'm this type of person. And why I'm this type of person is because my purpose is to do this. My purpose that I have found for myself is this or that. And yeah, you don't really get too much of that anymore. A lot of people are alone. I was talking to a friend of mine at a wedding this last weekend, and I hadn't seen him since high school, and we were talking about his university and the environment the university he goes to. And he was saying how like our 20-minute conversation, however long, it must have been only 20 minutes, was the longest time he's talked to someone of his age in the whole year. He was saying that no one talks to each other at that university, and I think that's emblematic of a larger problem, that people are very scared nowadays. They're scared to be in uncomfortable situations. They'll study their ass off. They'll study for hours and hours and hours. But talking to someone, that's scary to them. But that's just because they haven't practiced. See, the math and the sciences and stuff, the courses that they take aren't as scary to them because they practice these things. But not many people are practicing talking to other people, learning about other people's stories. That's why I feel it's so important to read this book. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. This guy, his childhood trauma and everything was his platform, his primary motivation for pushing himself and becoming the man that he becomes or has become. And I think it's important for us to learn from these types of people and to gain an overall theme or message that we gain from their life story. So for David Goggins, one of the main takeaways for me was that he, every day was like a reset. Every day he almost had to re-earn his pride. And that you can use that to your advantage if you are, let's say you are insecure, which like 95% of us are, well, all of us are to some extent. We're all afraid of something. But if you can reprove to yourself every day that you are worth the sense of self-pride, I think that's where a lot of his lifestyle comes from. In the book, he talks about how he does ultra marathons and stuff, and I won't tell his whole story. I think he tells it a million times better than I ever could. But he talks about how every day he runs and does all kinds of workouts and stuff because every day he has to callous his mind. And it's his lifestyle of just who he is as a person. And I think that's very important that people pick up a lifestyle because that's part of their identity. Your identity should run, like anything you do should run parallel to your identity. And then all of it should be aimed at the purpose that you've assigned to yourself. The second that things become off balance, they intersect, one thing becomes more than the other, and you got these feedback loops in life that just really can destroy things. And by that I mean like addictions of any kind. It could be food. It could be, well, a big one today, society is porn, as taboo as that might be to say. And of course drugs and alcohol. Alcohol, I feel, is being more so used not really for partying, more just for like forgetting, for not having to feel. Also check out the word acedia, A-C-E-D-I-A, if you're interested in learning more about like the concept of not caring about not caring. Really interesting word. I'll probably do a video about that. But yeah, re-earning your pride, your sense of self-pride every day. Super important. And I think it's important to learn other people's stories too, not just David Goggins. Like to constantly be reading about other people's stories. I think that's the source of a lot of wisdom that a lot of people aren't realizing. See, you can learn everything they've learned on your own. You don't need self-help books or anything. But these people who have struggled before, which I think is very important, people that, part of it is that the people who have struggled, they have had to go through that process by themselves for the most part. And they can give you the best, most poignant or practical advice when it comes to becoming more of who you want to be. And so like Marilyn Monroe is a good example of another person. Tupac Shakur, David Goggins, obviously, James Baldwin. He's one of my favorites, actually. I'll link to the article that I wrote, and I put a YouTube link to the interview that I'm going to refer to, but in the interview, basically, it's a 25-second segment of the interview where the interviewer asks James, so you grew up gay, black, impoverished in the civil rights areas when he was living through. Like, how much more disadvantaged can you get? And Mr. Baldwin laughs and he responds, I feel like I won the jackpot. And he continues to say, like, how much more disadvantage, like, how much worse can it get than this? So if he can make it through that, he is just an insanely, going through tough, suffering times. That's true for anyone. Everyone goes through some kind of suffering. The degree to which we suffer is obviously different, largely depending on which country you're born in. But I think that if we can get into routines of aligning ourselves with our purpose and identity, and we continue on that lifestyle, then we'll be in a much better spot in the future. And it's something you have to do day after day after day. So I recommend reading his book, Can't Hurt Me, by David Goggins. And as always, continue to think differently. Thanks for watching.